Na kaya? This is the Gupan's ultimate FM radio station, 90.3 Energy FM. Pag-awa mong sabihing radyo, sabihin mo Energy Masamsamit. Coming to you live at the 4th floor, Duque Junction Building, A.B. Fernandez Avenue, Dagupan City. Ang Energy FM Dagupan ay hindi lang po napapakinggan sa syudad ng Dagupan, but we are also heard in the entire province of Pangasinan. We are also heard coast to coast and globally through our A-Radio portal. Kasama po dyan ang ating Energy FM Dagupan FB page. Ngayong araw atin pong makakapanayam, atin pong kikilatisin, atin pong hihimay-himayin ang mga kasalukuyan at mga nagbabakasakaling maluklok sa pwesto. Ito po ang Tapatan ni Pangga 2022. Ngayong araw atin pong kakausapin siyempre mga kaibigan, fresh from San Fabian, Pangasinan, running for board member ng 4 distrito ng Pangasinan, former board member, former mayor of San Fabian, Honorable MOJAMITO Haming Libunao. Magandang umaga po. Sir, kumusta po kayo? Long time no see.
Happy to have you.
Ayan.
Happy for you to have me, Jay.
Yes, I'm happy to see you again po. Looking very, very healthy. At lalo pa hong, di ho ka naman nagbago, lalo ho kayo naging pogi. Kaya lalo,
more.
Kaya lalo na-inlove po si Madam sa inyo, no? Ayos lang ho natin ng konti yung microphone ni Chief Mar. Pakilapit lang po yung microphone ni ng ating pong guest.
Yes, thank you.
Ayan, that's way better. Okay, bago ho natin simulan ng ating Tapatan ni Pangga 2022, mangungumusta muna ako po. Kumusta po kayo, Honorable MOJAMITO Haming Libunao?
Well, it depends upon how this interview will turn out, Jay.
Okay.
I am hoping for the best. It's a pleasure being here. I am grateful for you having me.
Thank you very much. Well, as early as now, gusto ko lang pong ipaanam sa mga kababayan natin, especially sa 4 distrito ng Pangasinan, na pwede ho kayong mag-join sa ating Tapatan ni Pangga 2022. Open ho ang ating pong guest para sa ating no holds barred portion kung saan pwede ho kayong magpadala ng inyong mga katanungan. 0912-782-5884 at 0955-976-34. Ang ating pong Energy FM staff also are receiving all your comments sa ating pong comment section sa ating Energy FM FB page. Ako, ang dami na ho nagme-message. Good morning, Dagupan. At hello po sa mga kababayan natin. Sige po, tuloy-tuloy po. Good morning, board member MOJAMITO Jr. Libunao Jr. Ang dami na po. Pero mamaya na ho nato, mangungumusta. Sisimulan na ho natin kilatisin ang ating pong guest sa ating Tapatan ni Pangga 2022. Okay, first question, ready ka na ba? Honorable MOJAMITO Haming Libunao, ready na po kayo sa Tapatan ni Pangga? Okay, let's set. Ito na po mga kaibigan ang ating unang tapat na katanungan which deserve 1 minute. Pero bago ko po i-dish out yan, Honorable MOJAMITO Haming Libunao, gusto ko lang po ipaalam na kung hindi niyo natapos ang atin pong oras na ibinigay sa inyo, na mas maaga ho kayo nakapagbigay ng kasagutan, hindi po magki-carry over or magta-top up yung inyong pong oras na hindi naubos sa susunod na question. May mga 1 minute, meron din pong 5 minutes, pero ang unang katanungan sa inyo deserves 1 minute. Your first question, sino po si Honorable MOJAMITO Haming Libunao? 1 minute, your tapat na kasagutan ngayon na.
Well, ako po ay pinanganak sa San Fabian, Pangasinan. Ako ay nag-aral sa University of the Philippines, Diliman, sa kursong Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, which is the science of government, the science of politics. Nag-aral din ako ng 4 na taon pa rin ng Bachelor of Laws sa University of Pangasinan, Diliman. Pagkatapos nun, kumuha po ako ng Master in Management sa Asian Institute of Management. And after that, I have taken many other programs like the Local Administration Development Program of UP for incumbent government elected officials, which I'm happy to say, happy to say na akong presidente ng klaseng yan. Okay. I also took management and development courses in World Bank in the United States of America for human resource development.
Thank you very much po sa inyong tapat na kasagutan sa kauna-unahang tapat na tanong natin. Now, next tapat na question deserves 5 minutes. Isang tapat na tanong, ano po ang nagpapalakas sa loob ni MOJAMITO Haming Libunaw na tumakbo po bilang board member ng 4 distrito ng Pangasinan? This deserves 5 minutes. Yung tapat na kasagutan, ngayon na.
Well, looks like what you're trying to say is bakit ako tumatakbong board member? Well, at present, Jay, there's a vacancy or a vacuum in the 4th district of Pangasinan. Both incumbents are running for mayors. And alam mo na, if there is a new job, a new position, and if there is a new employee or a new officer to that position, they always require some phasing in or some probation or some training. No matter what course you have taken, pag pumasok ka sa trabaho, mayroon pa rin training or recruitment or what they call it, refresher courses. I am in the unique position of having served as board member already. Kaya if I'm given the opportunity to serve, I'll hit the ground running. On day one, nasa action mode na ako. Second, I feel that I am uniquely prepared for this position. Alam mo, ang trabaho ng board member is essentially legislative.
Yes.
The first is to craft laws, ordinances for the entire province. Parang trabaho rin ng municipal council, parang trabaho ng kagawad, gagawa ng batas. Pero sila para barangay, sila para bayan, pero ito ay para 47 towns and cities of Pangasinan. Secondly is, we also act like a upper house of our Congress because we review all laws, all ordinances, or budgets of all cities and municipalities of Pangasinan. So it's still essentially legislative. Parang lower house yung crafting, yung aming review is parang upper house ng ating Congress of the Philippines. The third one is we have some quasi-judicial functions. The quasi-judicial function is to have the final say and judgment on all cases of abuse of power sa mga municipal officials and barangay officials. And the fourth one is we have this oversight function, which means that we can review, monitor, and investigate in order that this will help us in crafting legislation, in aid of legislation. Sa lahat ng bagay na yan na sinabi ko, that requires a knowledge of the law. It seems that I'm uniquely qualified for that because abogado ako. Secondly is that I have experience daily in my life dealing with the law. Thirdly, I could take this in the context of the total perspective because I have been mayor. Fourthly, it is a collegial body. That means you work in a group. And working in a group requires people competence, not only intellectual ability. You must know how to work in a group. And I have proven that by having been the leader or having been presidents or having been at the top of most of the organizations that I have been a member of. I've been president of the Rotary Club. I've been governor of the Rotary Club. I've been president of the Metro Manila Chamber of Commerce and Industry, of Quezon City Chamber of Commerce and Industry. In UP, I was a student leader. So I know how to work in a group. Working in a group that's a collegial body sometimes is you work with equals. But sooner, some people become more equal than others by virtue of their knowledge or the trust and confidence they generate. So I'm happy that I am running for board member. I could have now put into service all that I have learned through my academic preparation, through my work experience, through my public service function. So I hope that I will be given the opportunity again to serve our people as best as I could.
Maraming salamat po. Hindi nyo na ho natapos yung oras. You still have 43 seconds to go, but I guess we move on to the next tapat na katanungan. Ano po?
Yes.
Alright, next, tapat na katanungan mga kaibigan. By the way, gusto ko lang pong ipaalam that at this juncture, we have now 57 viewers. Good morning po, Dagupan. Hello po sa Suarez family. Nakikinig po, Sheila Makaalay. And good morning po, Sir Mojamito Libunao from Jinky Biaizon. My board member, my favorite from Joseph Cadiente Eden. Yan. Kumusta po kayo? Sabi dito, shout out kay board member Mojamito Libunao from Padrinao Mary Grace. I will vote him. Aba, madaling lapitan. Arky Carl, Javier, Melba Abdon. Good morning from Germany watching here. Hi po. Aba, may mga viewers tayo from abroad.
Happy to hear that.
Alright. Siyempre, mga kababayan nyo rin itong mga to sigurado nasa 4 distrito. May mga kabang-anak. 19 minutos mga kaibigan sa atin pong orasan ang nakalipas sa alas 10. I'd like to remind 0912-782-5884 at 0955-597634. Let's proceed with another tapat na question at ito po ay nangangailangan po ng 5 minuto. Isang tapat na tanong, ano po ang mga plataforma ang nais ilatag ni Honorable Mojamito Haming Libunao sa 4 distrito ng Pangasinan? 5 minutes ngayon na.
Plataforma, Jay. That's a very big question. Usually, plataforma for political parties or for lineups or sa mga legislative agenda. But perhaps we could be more precise and put that into perspective. What do I plan to do? What can you expect me to do if ever you will gift me with being board member again? Una, I do have guiding principles which would guide me in all the work that I'm going to do. These guiding principles are like programs of government, like platforms. My first guiding principle is I would want to strengthen local governments. Lahat ng mga initiatives ko or causes and advocacies ko would be to strengthen the barangay and to strengthen the municipal government. Why? Because they are closest to the people. They're the ones to whom our grassroots would go to when they need service and help from the government. The barangay is the grassroots democracy. They should be the bulwark of democracy. And if they are unable to serve for lack of resources or for lack of help from the upper echelons of government, then we falter in our delivery of service to our grassroots. Kaya that's my first guiding principle, is strengthen the local government units so that they can serve the people better. Because that is the reason why we are in government service. Second, I will support and I will espouse a compassionate government, a caring government, which would give more to those who have less, which would take care of the very poor, the very young, the very old, or those who are sick and disabled. Those who would be disenfranchised for lack of wealth, for lack of position, we would give them more opportunities to have a greater say in government. This is like empowering the people. And in empowering the people, we shall see to it when reviewing all ordinances, all budgets of the municipalities and cities, that the participatory requirement of a public hearing or of its consultation with the Municipal Planning and Development Board will be followed so that the voice of the people will be heard. The other thing is development of our human resources. This is what I would like to emphasize because the Philippines is the 11th largest, most populous country in the world. And its most important resource are our people. And we would enhance the productivity, the progress of our country if our people will become more productive. You imagine, Jay, if all the 110 or 120 million Filipinos are self-reliant, if they can be productive, if they can reduce their own savings, we would be a economic giant. But right now, most of our people, for lack of support from the government, are not that productive. And instead of being an asset, they're becoming liabilities. Lahat ng programa natin is to help people who are in dire need. So we will support human resource development. Sa korporasyon, sasabihin nila sa korporasyon, the most important resource of a corporation are its people. And they develop their people. Kaya we should have programs for developing our people, education, training, adult education, livelihood trainings, and so forth. My third advocacy will be to make sure that good governance will be delivered. Good governance would mean transparency, and then the accountability and participation of the people. Good governance would ensure that all measures, all policies, all programs we adopt will trickle down to the people for whom they are intended to. Because that is the delivery system of all the programs and policies on government. If the programs are good, but the delivery falters, then it will not trickle down to the intended beneficiaries of the program. There's still time.
Thank you very much po sa napakagandang paglilinaw po sa inyo pong plataforma na nais nyo pong ilatag sa mga kababayan natin sa 4 distrito. At this point, we have 84, of course, viewers sa ating pong Energy FM Dagupan FB page. 4 distrito ng Pangasinan. Maging matalino ho tayo na po-observe natin na matalino itong kausap natin pong tumatakbo bilang board member. Law practitioner to, legal pagdating po dyan, na which lead me to the question, which ang main task po ng board members, just like what you mentioned a few minutes ago, it's more on crafting and creating laws, ordinances po. Now, which lead me to the next question, that even though yun po ang main task ng isang board member, ang mga kababayan po natin sa 4 distrito are asking for particularly kasagutan pagdating po, paghahanda sa COVID-19, sa trabaho, edukasyon, maging sa krimen. Ano po ang mailalatag po gagawin ni Honorable MOJAMITO Haming Libunao? 5 minutes, ngayon na po.
Tungkol sa COVID. Well, there is always a conflict between individual rights and public interest. Kaya one of the problems is maraming ayaw magpabakuna. Shall we force them? That is a very difficult question. Of course, the right answer should be we should persuade them. Persuasion. But when a sick person really insists on going out, we have no alternative but to insist that he be set apart from the rest of the citizenry. But sometimes, our response to the pandemic problem should be logical, because in certain times, they seem to be illogical. Like when you prevent a couple, husband and wife, brothers and sisters, from riding the same motorcycle when they have already been exposed to each other. And then when you allow them, you put a plastic barrier between them. Like when you isolate an entire town, when there is 1 or 2 cases in particular places, it looks like that's an overreach. So, our COVID policies have now been refined. And we know what has to be done. Hugas, distansya, di ba? At magpabakuna. We should try to improve our efforts in this direction. So, as a board member, even if I were board member, what can I do? I would, of course, use the provincial board during its meetings as a sounding board in order to encourage vigilance in this particular pandemic that is upsetting all our lives. And what are the other questions? Pandemic? Ano pa?
We also have, of course, pagdating po sa trabaho.
Sa trabaho. Trabaho. Well, the answer of the government to more jobs and more employment has been twofold. One, to have more economic zones. Second is to have more training for our people. And the original response was to send all our laborers abroad as much as possible for them to earn more. Well, sometimes that's good, but it speaks of a failure to accommodate them at home. So our efforts at employment generation should be accelerated. And economic zones are helpful. There are many experiences where many jobs have been generated by economic zones. Employment is to have more industries. There is now a tension between those who would want to expand the economy by inviting more foreign investments. There is a tension, I say, because there are those who oppose it, those who feel that the Philippine resources should be dedicated and for the Filipinos themselves. But there is always a middle ground for employment. But more training for, like TESDA, is what we will support insofar as employment is concerned. It means more vigorous economy. It means that our leadership should show the way. And like all programs of government, its success would depend on the implementation. And the implementation will depend upon the government personnel who are assigned there. And the performance of our government personnel depends ultimately on the leader. If you will note, there are countries that are prosperous, then they retrogress. There are organizations, for example, that are successful this year, next year hindi. But the people do not change. The people do not change. The members of the organization do not change. What changes? It is the leadership that changes. In other words, leadership, upon leadership shall fall or rise an organization, and also a nation, and also a province, and also a barrio. And the example, for example, of Singapore will come to mind. The example of Israel, which is very limited in resources, will come to mind. But what makes them progressive is the leadership. So, of vital importance is to choose the right leader in order to attain the economic progress that we are hoping for, including more employment, more jobs for our people.
10:31 in the morning, mga kapangga. Narinig po natin ang kasagutan regarding po sa mga bagay-bagay pagdating po sa kalamidad, sa trabaho, at ganun na rin po siyempre. Hindi na ho nabigyan yung tungkol sa education at krimen. But nevertheless, we move on to the next tapat na katanungan. Ito po ay nagkaroon ho ng polisiya ang gobyerno, partikular na po sa no bakuna, no vaccine, no labas policy, and also naglabas din po ng direktiba or polisiya ang LTFRB regarding this matter. Honorable Mojamito Jaming Libunao or Haming Libunao, usapin pong no vaccine, no sakay policy. What is your comment? You deserve 1 minute for this question. Your tapat na kasagutan ngayon na.
The eternal conflict between individual rights and public interest. Could we reconcile both? Of course, if somebody is sick and proven to be sick, he should not be in a public vehicle. But not being vaccinated, it does not mean that you will infect those with whom you are going to ride. They have a mechanism of testing people who are going to ride. Why don't they do that? Why do they use vaccination as the only measurement of the health of a rider? If they are unable to do that, then they could provide mode of transportation for those who are unvaccinated and who are found to be still healthy. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, no ride, no vaccine, no ride. It should be no
Tapatan ni
vaccine
Bangga.
and no ride if you are unhealthy. Because vaccination is not the only test for fitness to ride in the public transport.
Very nice. All right, 10:33 in the morning. Ito naman po ang next na katanungan natin, ano? Which deserves another 5 minutes for another tapat na katanungan. Isang tapat na tanong. Kung kayo nga po muli ay mabigyan po ng pagkakataon na maupo bilang board member sa 4 distrito ng Pangasinan. At kung sakali man po, nasa kabilang partido naman po ang mga palarin, no? Hindi nyo mga kagrupo. Paano ho kayo makikibagay sa kanila at paano nyo sila pakikisamahan? This deserves 5 minutes. Pero tapat na katanungan ngayon na.
Alam mo, if you are elected, it means that you will serve with whoever is elected by the people. And therefore, it is vital that the person we elect is able to work with other people, whether of the same political color or not. I would call that being competent with people. People competence is the ability to get along with people, irrespective of conflicting backgrounds, conflicting interests, conflicting motivations. Politics is the ability to navigate the political waters. Politics, Jay, is defined as the set of activities needed to reach an agreement in a political organization. It is neither good, it is neither bad. It depends upon how you practice it. I have been able to work with people in big organizations, small organizations of varied interests. You cannot have a group where everybody thinks the same. That would be difficult. Therefore, my experience in working in big organizations would come in good stead. For example, when I became mayor, there were opposition in the municipal council, but I was able to work well with them. When I became board member, I was not part of the majority party, but I was able to work with them. For example, as mayor, notwithstanding that there was a vigorous opposition, we were able to make San Fabian into a first-class town. When I started, it was third class. After 2 years, it became second class, and after 3 years, it became a first-class municipality. And I was working with people who are not completely within the same political color. I have been able, when I was mayor, with the help of everyone, to improve or increase the budget or municipal funds. From an original 26 million, it became 50 million after 2 years, and it became 100 million after 6 years. And when I ended, it became 140 million. Almost a 6-fold increase. And this was working in a group which was not unanimous in its political affiliation. I was board member, but I was able to have an important imprint in the provincial board. There is what they call a Committee on Laws and Ordinances, J, which is the workhorse of the province. This is where all towns and cities, the officials from mayor to councilors, budget officers, treasurers, present their budget. They present their ordinance. And the committee, on behalf of the provincial board, hears them. They hear them defend their budget. And it is this committee who will approve and disapprove, amend, return, and who will recommend approval or disapproval by the entire provincial board in plenary. I was not a member of the majority party, but at some time, after some time, I was made chairman of that committee. What does that show? That I am able to navigate the political waters, that I can work with different people with different affiliations, with conflicting interests. And you can do that. You can rise above the other members if you show knowledge, if you show commitment, if you engage them, if they have trust and confidence in you because of your track record. So after saying that, I feel that I have proven myself the capability of working with other people, whether I am in the majority or minority. And that is what I call people competence, or ability to lead teams, the ability to work in teams. And so, do not worry, Jay, my constituents, I can work with all those who would be elected by you because they are your choice, and it will be my responsibility to work with them.
Thank you very much po sa inyo pong mga tapat na kasagutan. Arval Majamito, Haming Libunao. At tayo na po ay papasok po sa part ng No Holds Barred. Ibig sabihin po yung mga katanungan ninyo, may it be through text lines 0912-782-5884 at 0955-5976-34. Bago tayo pumasok dyan, gusto ko lang po ipaalala as we move on sa part yan that the views and opinions na inyo pong mapapakinggan sa aming mga guests or sa ating speaker do not necessarily reflect the views and opinion of the host, the station, the network, or the company. Further, that the views, opinions, and insinuations of the host or even the guest or speaker do not necessarily reflect of those of the show, the network, and the station. Ngayon po, bago natin simulan yan, puro okay at mga applause ang nakikita ko sa ating live. Napakatalinong board member. Shout out for sa future konsehal ng San Fabian, Tatak MC Maxwell, Marieta Cuarasma, Salvador de Guzman. Salamat. 3 hearts for you, board member. And Army Hofana Patalod, palakpak, ang dami po. Siguro mahigit 6 na palakpak. Alright, Celia Caronongan, good luck po. God be with you. Thumbs up. Ayan, puro ganyan na nakikita ngayon at bukod sa heart. May mga question po pumasok na rin po. My board member, sabi niya dito, we need a lawyer in provincial office to present 4th District Attorney Haming and Gubatan are both deserving. Subok na po talaga sir si board member Mojamito Haming Libunao. Ayan. Alright, let's proceed from Cecil Serra Batrina. Sir BM, ano po ang gagawin nyo sa mga poor farmers? Ano rin po ang programa nyo para sa kanila? Salamat po.
Alam mo, that's a question for a congressman, a mayor, and a governor, and even the president. But I'll take this opportunity to answer that.
Yes po.
When I was mayor, I was able to obtain for the people of the Philippines, the farmers of the Philippines who plant tobacco, barley, and native. What they call a share of the municipal government in the excise tax collected on tobacco planted in the municipalities. I will tell the story how we got it. But in San Fabian right now, because of these efforts I made sometime in 2009, San Fabian now receives 78 million pesos annually in excise tax. And this excise tax is intended to benefit the farmers. And when I received this excise tax, when San Fabian received this excise tax, sometime in 2009, during the last 2 years of my administration, we were able to give to all farmers certified seeds, fertilizers, black plastic, and sprayers. This is what I have done. How did I do that? I was part of the Pangasinan Mayors League, Jay. There were 46 mayors. I was the Secretary General. The president happened to be Ramon Gico, who was also president of the Philippine Mayors League. I found out that the Virginia tobacco growers in Ilocos were receiving already their share of excise tax. because there is a law which provides that the excise taxes collected from tobacco planted in their towns would be received by the town for the farmers. Virginia tobacco growers were receiving it for the past 5 or 6 or 7 years, but planters of burley and native tobacco were not receiving it. Pangasinan happens to be burley and native tobacco planters, especially San Fabian. What did I do? With the help of my fellow mayors in Pangasinan, I initiated, I sponsored, I wrote a resolution asking the President of the Philippines that the same benefit being given to Virginia tobacco now be given to planters of native and burley tobacco. Because our President, Mr. Guico, at that time, happens to be the President of the Philippine Mayors League and happens to be a cousin or relative of the President, we were able to present this resolution to the President herself. In the town fiesta in Benalunan, I and my fellow mayors of Pangasinan presented to President Macapagal Arroyo. We said, 1, the tobacco excise tax is being implemented for tobacco growers of Virginia. But the tobacco growers of Pangasinan and in the rest of the Philippines are not receiving their share of the excise tax from native and from burley tobacco. Did you know, Jay? Right there and there, the President said, this is unjust. This is unfair. She said, let us approve this. Let us release also the excise taxes for burley and native tobacco growers. That's how the Philippines got its excise tax share from tobacco, native, and burley. It was the work of Pangasinan Mayors League, and within the Pangasinan Mayors League, I led the initiative, and with the good offices then of Pangasinan Mayors League and the entire Mayors League of the Philippines, the local government, that's what they call LMP, local municipalities of the Philippines, we were able to obtain a benefit for the farmers. I would continue to look for opportunities by which we can give benefit to the farmers. I would particularly look into budgets which will allocate and how they will allocate this tobacco excise tax for the farmers. We must make sure that the legislative intent will be followed up. And I would be at the vanguard of that initiative to find out and to assure that the farmers will get their just share of what they deserve.
All right, Texter 6532, given a chance to be the board member of 4th District, what would be your legislative order for the very first time na magkaroon ng legislative order para sa mga senior citizen?
Well, I was thinking, senior citizens, I'm a senior citizen. There is an allocation, budget allocation for senior citizens together with people with disabilities, together with women. First, we must make sure that these budget allocations are followed by the municipalities and by the barangays. We would look into their budgets to make sure that this has been amply provided for. That is making sure that the law is being implemented. That is part of our oversight function, where we can monitor and call the attention of people who are violating this. Secondly, we would like, I think, I have talked to some senior citizens association presidents, Mr. Madronio of Manawag, for example, Mr. Ronquillo of San Jacinto of Mangaldan, Mr. Pinolyar of Mangaldan, of San Fabian, Madam Bautista of San Fabian. We would like to have a help desk for senior citizens, whereby any concerns they have with respect to the budget allocations for senior citizens will be brought to them, and we will resolve the issue by calling the parties concerned a help desk. Secondly, we would initiate legislation whereby senior citizens would have the same right to be represented in barangay councils, municipal councils, and sangguniang bayans. We now have sector representatives for councilors in the province, sector representatives for barangay captains in municipalities and in barangays, and sangguniang kabataan representatives in the three levels, province, municipality, and barangay. Why not senior citizens? They are as much in need, if not more, of representation. First, because we owe them a lot. Everything that we have now is because of them. Secondly, because they have more wisdom than perhaps some other sectors because of their experience. Knowledge. Thirdly, why would you not give them the same right as the youth, as the barangay captains, and as the councilors? They have a very important constituency, the senior citizens, to whom we owe a lot, and who can add wisdom and maturity to the deliberations in deliberative bodies like the municipal council, provincial council, and the barangay council.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mojamito Haming Libunao. I think this is just fitting and right, and with your indulgence, allow me to read this message. Pwede po bang pakitagalog po yung paliwanag ng guest para ho madali ko maintindihan from one of our constituents po dito sa 4 distrito ng Pangasinan. Okay. First question dito na ating pong babasahin. Sabi dito, good morning po. Tanong ko lang po kay Board Member Haming Libunao, may mga programa ho ba kayo tulad po sa construction worker na kagaya ko? Kasi po walang project, wala din kita. Pwede po bang pagkakitaan? Salamat po. God bless po. From George Tambalo.
If elected, I will be a board member. As a board member, we can do that indirectly by making sure that budget allocations in order to enhance employment ay magkakaroon. Pagbibigay ng trabaho sa iyo, sa ating probinsya, mayroon silang help desk para sa mga nangangailangan ng trabaho.
Mm-hmm.
Ang magagawa ng natin dyan is tutulungan ka in order to have livelihood training. Dahil sa pwede ka namang magkakaroon ng trabaho kung may kwalifikasyon ka sa mga bukas na trabaho ngayon. The other thing is we should work for an entrepreneurial fund na tutulong sa mga yung gustong magkaroon ng small businesses. Titignan natin yung mga batas na nagsasabing bigyan ng mga loans sa mga masa. Ba't hindi ito nasusunod ng mga bangko? Kaya pwede na kung ako ay makakaupo, tatawag tayo ng ating investigation or hearing sa mga employment officers ng probinsya kung paano matutulungan mga nangangailangan ng trabaho.
Oh, okay. Texter 6573. Board Member Haming, kumusta po ang inyong kalusugan? Ilang taon na po kayo?
Alam mo, makikita mo naman kung paano ako. Kung natagba ako kasi sigurado akong kaya ko pa ang trabaho. I've been going around, and if you've been following me on Facebook, you can see that I've been very active. Correct? At age is an asset. Learning or education or acquiring more knowledge is not a destination. It is a journey. Ibig sabihin, di pwedeng sasabihin na isang tao na nalaman na lahat ng bagay. Nahihinto na siyang matutuhan. Correct? So, as years go by, a person acquires more knowledge. Para kang Computer, for example, as you acquire more data, the validity of your conclusions and your observations will be more reliable because you have more data. Ako, ang attitude ko sa buhay is to be on a continuing journey of education and learning. And I hope that people will benefit from the wisdom, the knowledge, and the experience that people acquire as they grow older in time.
All right. Board member, may mga tanong pa tayo dito pumapasok. Kung kayo nga po ay mahalal bilang board member ng 4 distrito, paano nyo po aalagaan kami pong mga tricycle driver? Kasi napakarami po ng kolorom at apektado po ang trabaho namin, lalo-lalo na pag isusubo na namin sa bawat hapagkainan ng aming pamilya. From a tricycle driver's point of view po.
Alam po ninyo, ang tanong yan ay hindi para sa isang board member out of 16 lang. But being a board member, I'll make sure, of course, that kagaya ng sinasabi ko, my guiding principle is a compassionate government who would give more for those who have less in life. The disadvantage, like tricycle drivers. I don't know from what town you come from, but in San Fabian, when I was mayor, the first action I did with respect to tricycles and padyak is to allow padyak to operate as a public transport. Kasi before I became mayor, tricycles lang ang pwede. So, my first act was to have our municipal council approve franchises also for padyak in San Fabian. And when I was mayor, I am compassionate to the tricycle drivers. Yung mga mayor's permit ng mga tricycle drivers, during my 9 years of office, hindi ko tinaas kahit na minsan. Secondly, tricycle drivers who need financial assistance, may priority sila. Hindi mo maririnig na ubos na ang budget ng San Fabian. And my proposal has been to abolish municipal permits for drivers or operators of tricycles and pedicabs. Why? We are talking with 1,000 per tricycle, per pedicab. How many are we talking about? 2,000? 3,000? 3,000 times 1,000? That's 3 million. The budget of San Fabian right now is 300 million. Kaya ba? Kaya, how will I help? I will try to initiate legislation. I am only one of 16 to give financial assistance to all tricycle drivers, to all padyak drivers, such that kung pwede, yung mayor's permit ay mawawala na. Or kung pwede, they would be given financial assistance to cover that up. And there is an initiative now in San Fabian by Mayor Villegas where he will provide free insurance, accident insurance for all tricycle drivers. I will support that. And I hope that that will be replicated in all other towns. And my initiative of really not trying to rely on mayor's permits from the marginalized population of our town or province, kung pwede, alisin na natin yan. Because we can very well afford it. If we can afford millions and billions of losses in certain transactions in the government, we should be able to afford 3 million, 1 million, 2 million in our budgets, in our towns, and in our cities, and in the province of Pangasinan.
The texter is from Manawag, Pangasinan po. And sabi dito, meron din comment na pumasok. I don't know if you're a tricycle driver also, Kirimit Ruben. Sabi niya, yan, alisin, kawawa yung mga may permit. Iboboto kita. Mojamito, haming libo na. Okay, thank you very much. Alright. BM, pag ikaw po, texter 1835, kung kayo naman po ay hindi pinalad, anong sasabihin mo sa ano to? Pag kayo po ay hindi pinalad, anong sasabihin mo sa iyong sarili at paano mo tatanggapin ang iyong pagkatalo? Well, hindi pa naman tapos ang eleksyon. Tingnan natin. Pero that's a question na
kapag tumatakbo tayo, we always come to grips with the reality na hindi tayo papalarin. Talo man ako, I will continue helping the people na sa kakayahan ko. The reason I'm running is precisely because people come to me, nakakaugalian ng mga tao sa Sampabian, mga Aldan, sa Nasinto, lalapit sa akin, hihingi ng tulong. Sasabihin ko, private citizen na ako. Ang kakayahan kong tutulong ay limitado. Pero pumupunta pa rin sila sa akin. Sasabihin nila, naghihirap kami para sa iyo noon. May utang na loob ako sa kanila. Sabi ko, nasuklian ko na yan. I've served you for 15 years. But iniisip ko, hindi mo talaga mababayaran ang utang na loob. Kaya, kung kaya kong tutulong pa rin, kaya ako tumatakbo ngayon. Because that will give me more resources, that will make me more capable of helping people who will come to me. At kagaya ngayon, wala ako sa posisyon. Ba't nasubukan mo na bang pumasyal sa aming bahay? Siguro, kahit na ikumpara mo sa mga nakaupo ngayon, mas bukas ang bahay namin. Mas marami pa rin akong natutulungan sa kakayahan ko.
Okay.
Kahit na private citizen ako, hindi yan magbabago.
Salamat po, Honorable MOJAMITO. Siguro stigma na talaga siguro either you win or lose once you enter this journey na pagiging isang politiko, talagang lalapitan ka ng mga taong bayan na nagtitiwala po. The best and most qualified board member for Congressional District, MOJAMITO Haming Libunao Jr. The best po kayo talaga from 7373. As much as really wanted to accommodate ang ating pong guests with my time na 11 o'clock na po mga kaibigan, I'm running out of time. I'm giving the microphone and the opportunity for Honorable MOJAMITO Haming Libunao para ho sa kanyang mensahe sa lahat po ng mga nakikinig sa 4 distrito ng Pangasinan. Board member?
Thank you, Jay. Una, kung mapalaran ako, I can assure you that your board member will be in work mode immediately kasi preparado na ako. Secondly, I assure you that I will be faithful to my guiding principles. Thirdly, I assure you that I will be engaged, that I will participate fully, and that I will articulate your hopes and aspirations, and that I will work within the corporate political body in order that we can achieve our dreams and our aspirations. Kinakailangan ng isang board member, kaya niyang makapagtrabaho sa isang collegiate body. At yan ay mangyayari kung may papakita mo sa iyong kasama na mapagkakatiwalaan ka nila at kung naniniwala ang inyong kasama na alam mo ang inyong ginagawa. Kagaya ng nangyari noong ako'y board member, hindi ako member ng majority, pero ginawa nila akong chairman ng Committee on Laws and Ordinances. Kaya maasahan ninyo, kung nagustuhan nyo ang nagawa ko noon, pasigurado ko sa inyo na mas hihigitan ko pa. Kasi yun sa mga iyon dito nakikinig, yung mga barangay kagawad, mga municipal mayors, yung mga elected officials, alam ko kapag tumatakbo tayo, mahusay ang intention natin. Gusto natin gagawa ng mahusay. Pero maraming nakakalimot. Pero yung mga nagre-re-election, sinasabi nila sa sarili nila, kung mananalo ako, mas pag-iigihan ko ngayon. Correct? Yun din ang feeling ko. Kung mahusay ang serbisyo ko ngayon, at gusto kong babalik, pinapangako ko, mas lalampasan ko pa kung kaya ko ang aking nagawa noon.
Maraming salamat po, Honorable MOJAMITO Haming Libunao, sa pakikipagtapatan ni Pangga 2022. Kasama niyo po ang inyong lingkod, Jay Oriles, People of 4 Distrito.
Salamat, Jay.
Thank you for sharing your time, your precious time, just to hear the voice at siyempre the plataforma ng ating guest ngayong araw na ito. On behalf of the management and staff of Energy FM Dagupan, thank you very much, Honorable MOJAMITO Hamim, for coming. And we prayed, of course, to whatever you're joining ngayong papasok po ng election, stay safe and stay healthy po. At sana po ay palarin po tayo itong nalalapit na eleksyon. 11:03, you hang on tight mga kaibigan sa mga susunod na araw na ating po makakapanayam. This coming Tuesday, Honorable Doc Ming Rosario running for Mayor ng Manawag, Pangasinan. January 27, Honorable Cap Richie Abalos running for board member din po ng 4 distrito ng Pangasinan. At February 1, PDEA Director Jobinal B. Azurin running for Mayor ng San Fabian. And on February 3, Thursday, Honorable Dexter Malikdam running for Vice Mayor ng Lingayen. At sa darating no February 8, Attorney Apples Abarcar running for Mayor ng San Jacinto, Pangasinan. Maraming salamat po sa lahat po ng nakipagtapatan ni Pangga 2022. Dito lang po yan sa 90.3 Energy FM. Pangga, o mo sabihing radyo, sabihin mo, Energy.